Hello and welcome to Rise Unwind Wichita. You know, each and every week I try to talk to people from across the country about things you can do right here in your neighborhood. And on this week's show, we got this.
We are in states around the country. We are coast to coast. We are in some sheriff's departments. We are in some really small departments.
All of that and more right here on Rise and Unwind. Ever worry about how to keep kids safe around firearms, especially when they're at a friend's house? For the fourth year in a row, firearms are the leading cause of death for children and teens in the United States. Today, we're looking at practical research-backed ways families can reduce risk at home and in our communities. Joining us is Dr. Lois K. pediatric emergency physician and chair of the AAP Council on Injury, Violence, and Poison Prevention. Welcome to the show, Dr. Lee. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
All right, we've heard firearms are now the #1 cause of death for United States kids and teens. Can you put that in context for families watching?
Yeah, when you want to break it down, it essentially leads to an equivalent of a school bus full of children dying every 2 days due to firearms. But we know that research is really key to helping us figure out what are the best approaches to address this issue with evidence-based solutions that work.
What does the research tell us that actually works to keep children safer at home and in other homes they visit?
So research tells us, first of all, having unauthorized access to firearms is definitely a risk factor. And so what we know is by securing firearms more safely in the home, we can decrease the risk both for unintentional or accidental shootings, as well as intentional firearm deaths from things like suicide and homicide.
For parents and caregivers, what are the most important steps today? Safe storage basics, conversations with other parents, or what else?
All of those things. So in your own home, one way to secure your firearms is to have them unloaded and lock away your firearm and your ammunition separately, of course, in a way that your children can't get them, like with a gun lockbox or a firearm safe. But as you mentioned, it's also important to talk to family and friends where your children go to other people's homes about how they secure their firearms, just like you would talk about food allergies, wearing bicycle helmets, and wearing seatbelts in the car.
Beyond the home, how does ongoing research help communities choose the right interventions? Like how seatbelt research shaped the car industry.
Absolutely. Research was really essential in showing us what are the effective interventions like seatbelts and car seats that have significantly decreased car crash injuries and deaths throughout the U.S. And we don't have that research for firearms, although certainly in the last 5 years, through federal investments, there are dozens of states with multi-year projects across 27 different states that are helping us answer this question in communities across the U.S.
So where can families find clear guidance and resources that they can trust?
Yeah, if you want to learn just more about firearm research, you can visit researchgunviolence.org. But to learn more safety tips around firearms, but also general safety and health for your children, please visit healthychildren.org.
Dr. Lee, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
What if instead of dying, you could be uploaded into a digital afterlife, complete with luxury, tech, and maybe a few glitches? Well, that's the wild setup of Upload, the sci-fi comedy from Greg Daniels, creator of The Office and Parks and Rec. The show imagines a future with holographic phones, AI assistants, and even 3D food printers, where the afterlife is just another subscription plan. The 4-part finale is now streaming on Prime Video, and joining us is comedian and actress Zainab Johnson, who plays Aleesha. Welcome to the show, Zainab. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, the finale is here. Well, what can fans expect from these last 4 episodes without giving away too many of the spoilers?
The fans can definitely expect closure. They can expect us taking everything that they've seen throughout the series, seasons 1 through 3. They can expect that to be heightened, but also definitely closure. So really big comedic moments, really big fun moments, stunts, of course, introducing new technology, solving kind of like solving a mystery, but also in terms of like the will they, won't they, the love story between the trouble of Nathan, Ingrid, and Nora. I think the fans will appreciate a bit of closure in that department.
And Aleesha's been through so much in Lakeview. How did you want to see her story land in this kind of finale?
I really enjoy seeing Aleesha succeed. I feel like that was important to me. And I think that was important to show because Aleesha, in a very different way, is like a morality character. Like she often battles with like doing the right thing for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, et cetera, et cetera. By this last season, her not only like, getting a lot of promotions, but also sort of being a double agent in a sense and really sort of working within the system to sort of change it and fix it or protect the people from it. I think that was a wonderful way for me to sort of show how much she has grown.
And Greg Daniels, I'm a huge fan. He balances humor and heart really, really well. What moments while shooting these episodes really captured that for you?
The humor and the heart. In this fourth season, I mean, there's so many moments, but like in this fourth season, there's a scene where the AI guy is just, he's kind of like distraught because his AI girlfriend, has broken up with him. And it's such a silly scene. But Aleesha goes in and not only Aleesha and Luke, they go in and they comfort him through what is like a really, really silly, like in the essence of it, it's silly, but also the way it's filmed. It's like he's laying on a floor in an elevator and it's just like hitting his head, like the physical comedy of it all. But for us to not really focus on that and to really just focus on like, oh, okay, well, he's having this human experience and he's feeling pain and sadness, and we have to help him through this. I feel like that's a really good example and one of my favorite moments this season of like balancing this like, like really, really huge humor moments, but also like the heart of the show.
And you're also not just Aleesha, you're also a stand-up comedian and a host. How does your comedy background shape the way you approach a character on screen?
I mean, I'm always like trying to look for the funny, like I'm always like, like it's fun to be funny, although in the scene as the character, it's not really funny to you. You're playing it genuine. And that happens for me a lot on stage too. When I'm doing my stand-up, while the audience is like laughing really hard, I am typically like playing the jokes that I'm saying very straight or really living through the experience, which could have been like sort of like, I don't know, dramatic for me, but I'm allowing the audience to sort of laugh at it. And I feel like that has really helped me in terms of like, acting, not just on Upload, but, any other work as well.
Zainab Johnson, thanks for joining us this morning. You can stream the complete 4-part finale of Upload right now on Prime Video. Share your favorite moments with hashtag UploadTV and follow @Upload on Prime for more. Zainab, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
We all know world travel is fun, but it's also serious business. Last year alone, it added nearly $3 trillion to our economy and supported jobs in every corner of the country. And with events like World Cup, the Ryder Cup, and the Olympics on the way, the U.S. has a once-in-a-generation chance to show the world a little bit of what we got. So here to talk about why travel matters so much and what needs to happen to keep America competitive is Geoff Freeman, President and CEO of the U.S. Travel Association. And welcome to the show, Geoff. How are you?
Dan, thank you. I think you said it well in the tee up there.
All right, well, there you go. Travel, it means more than just kind of getting away. I'm a huge travel fan, so why is it important for everyday Americans and not just to like fill the economy?
Well, I think we know when you travel, you spend money. It helps with the economy, $3 trillion, as you mentioned last year. I think what goes underappreciated is how travel is the fuel that enables business to happen. It brings people together to do deals. Travel is what connects families, grandparents and grandchildren. It's what keeps us together, the experiences we create. It's what strengthens communities, right? With bringing in visitors to see what those communities are all about. I think it's those aspects that go a little bit underappreciated. And I think it goes underappreciated because I don't see policymakers in particular improving travel processes with the urgency that they should. I think there are too many frictions in the travel process that need to be addressed. We can unlock this aspect of the economy if we get the roadblocks out of the way.
And a lot of people don't realize how travel touches like some of the other industries. Can you share some of those connections?
Yeah, I think when you look at, when you look at healthcare, when you look at technology, when you look at manufacturing, what brings people together to do deals, what enables learning to happen from one another, what enables information sharing is meetings, conventions, conferences, all things that happen because of travel. Travel is the fuel that makes it happen. The more difficult we make travel, the less likely those things are to happen. The more we streamline the travel process, the more likely people are to be out on the road, in the air, getting deals done, driving this economy. Where we run into frictions, whether that's road, rail, or in the air, people stay home, they use Teams, they use Zoom, and the economic benefits are lost.
And some of those big events like World Cup, Ryder Cup, Olympics, what kind of opportunities will those create for U.S. travel?
We've got an extraordinary opportunity coming up over the next decade. You just mentioned several events. We've also got America's 250th birthday. We've got the Rugby World Cup, the Winter Olympics. It's event after event after event that's going to get, hopefully, Americans moving about the country and will help the U.S. attract up to 40 million visitors just for these events. But I'm concerned because right now we are not attracting particularly international travelers to the numbers that we need to. We had fewer international travelers last year than we did in 2019. We're going to have fewer this year than last year. We're going the wrong way on international travel. We've got to get that addressed to make sure these events, the World Cup just up the road in Kansas City, can be a success. We've got to have more urgency to do that.
And you just said that U.S. is losing ground on international travel. What do you think is causing that? And what do you think is at stake at local businesses if that continues?
Yeah, I think there are a variety of reasons that people are turning away from the United States right now. One, there's a perception forming they're not as welcome as they once were. I don't think that's reality, but it's a perception, and it's a perception we've got to address. We've got to let people know at the highest levels of our government, we've got to make a message very clear to people around the world. We want your business. We want you to come to the United States. The U.S. is open for business for legal travelers. We want you to come here, spend your money, and go home and tell your friends and family what a great time you had. Two, we've got to improve the customs process so people aren't waiting 2 or 3 hours or more getting through America's airports when they land. Finally, for those that need a visa, we've got to get rid of delays, and we've got to get rid of this new fee that Congress just created that punishes foreign travelers who want to come to the United States. Congress wants them paying money to the U.S. government rather than spending that money with U.S. businesses. When international travelers come, when regular travelers come, they're going to restaurants, they're going to retailers, they're going to attractions. That's where we should be spending our money, not giving it to the federal government.
So what do you think is being done to make travel smoother and more welcoming for both Americans and international visitors?
Yeah, great question. The private sector and government are working together to identify where the frictions exist. Years ago, we worked together to create TSA PreCheck. That really helps a lot of business travelers. Where can we have similar opportunities going forward? You just saw recently the Department of Homeland Security announced you can keep your shoes on when going through the TSA checkpoint. That's a step in the right direction. How about liquids? How do we improve or enhance what you can bring through from a liquid standpoint? There's an area of opportunity there. When it comes to delays and cancellations, how do we make sure that our air traffic control system is the envy of the world, the right number of air traffic controllers, the right technology? We've got room for improvement there to give travelers a better experience. I think American travelers in general should be more demanding of the industry, of government. Give me a process that I enjoy. We've got a lot of work to do.
And for people that want to dig in, learn more about the impact of travel, where should they go?
We think travel is essential from an economic standpoint, from a social standpoint, from a cultural standpoint. To learn more about it, visit showcaseamericantravel.org.
Geoff Freeman, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
So what happens when law enforcement uncovers a plot bigger than anyone ever imagined? Well, that's the premise of Countdown, Prime Video's Edge of Your Seat action series. Two of the stars join us today. That's Elliot Knight and Latukefu, who are here to give us a behind-the-scenes look towards the explosive finale. Welcome, Elliot and Uli. How are you two?
Hey, thank you, dude. Good, man. Good. How are you?
I've been doing okay. I've been checking out the show, and it moves fast, and it keeps viewers hooked. What was it about Countdown that made you both want to be part of it?
I'll go first. A combination of things. There was an opportunity to work in this genre, to being able to work in Los Angeles, which is great, and three, we'd just come off the back of a strike, so every bit helps.
Yeah, exactly. And also, you know, to work with Derek Haas, he has such an amazing track record of the shows that he's made. And there is a really beautiful element of this show that's like, you know, honoring those classic fun action movies and that whole genre. To do that in TV in sort of a new age and for a new audience is really an honor. And that's been a lot of fun too.
Elliot, your character is caught up in this secret task force. How did you prepare for that role and the intensity that it brings?
I think focusing on the stakes, what the real world stakes would be with what the task force are focused on. You know, this is a deadly threat to the city of Los Angeles that could wipe it off of the map. It's something that should be unbelievable, but there are people in real life who have to consider those consequences. And so I think making sure that as the character, he's focused on making sure that does not happen, but also there is fun to be had, and you still have to be a person to do that job. You know, it can't be dire all the time. So finding that balance of dire stakes, but also explosive fun as you go along has really made for an incredible ride, and hopefully one that translates on screen for everyone to enjoy as well.
Uli, you've had such a wide range of roles from Young Rock to Black Adam. What stands out about your experience on Countdown?
Oh man, we had so much fun making this show, and especially given the genre, you know, it's things can get a little intense, you know, on the show, but it didn't feel like that at all for this. And working with this team has been amazing. Being able to work in LA, I live in LA now, and it really has been a dream come true. I'm sure Elliot will echo the same sentiment. In terms of, I've never been in a cop show like this, an American cop show, which was always fun. You know, it's always kind of been on my bucket list to tick off, and hopefully we can continue to do that for years to come, because we've had a ball making it, and I think the show's great.
And the cast, it includes some big names like Jensen Ackles and Eric Dane. What's it been like collaborating with them on set?
Jensen's amazing and a great leader for our team. He brings not just such skill to the role, and he really is Mark Meacham in so many ways, which is so fun to watch him play out, but also he's led the fun and the camaraderie that we have on set. He's made sure that we all know how lucky and grateful we are to be doing this and to make sure we enjoy every moment. And honestly, even like Eric, he has a much more somber role in the show, but he brings his own personality and element of fun to work as well. And it really adds to the joy we get from doing this job. And then I think the product on screen is clear. This is a group of very, very talented people, and especially the big stars amongst that too. It's amazing to get to share in that with them.
Yeah, agreed.
Hey, I want to thank you two for hanging out with me today. Catch new episodes of Countdown every Wednesday, only on Prime Video, and don't miss the season finale streaming September 3rd. Hey, I want to thank you two for joining me today.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you so much.
Kelsey Hart has been making serious moves in country music, earning millions of streams, touring across the country, and writing songs for some of the biggest names in his genre. With his new single, Something That You'd Miss, it shows a little more personal, reflective side, and is the follow-up to his high-energy hit Fireworks. We're catching up with him today ahead of the release. Welcome to the show, Kelsey. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, Something That You'd Miss. It tells a vivid story. What's the backstory to this song?
Yeah, so it's a song I was a part of writing last year that one of my buddies, we were on a songwriting retreat, and he just started telling a story, you know, kind of about a situation that he had been in that was similar to this, you know, where wasn't anything, you know, that really happened, you know, bad in the relationship. The girl just, you know, she had moved a long way from her hometown to be with him, and just decided, you know, it just wasn't for her, you know. So that's where the story stemmed from. And you know, he just said, you know, I guess if I was more like her hometown, then I'd be something she'd miss too, you know. And so that's where the song started. And yeah, you know, you hope that's something you never have to go through, but that's the reality for some folks. So,
in your debut, Life With You, it really connected with some fans. How does fan feedback tend to influence the direction you take with new music?
Yeah, no, Life With You was certainly it's really cool getting to hear all the stories on that. And I think anytime we step into a room, you're hoping to write something that people can hang on to and kind of put to their life. And we're not just telling our own stories. We're trying to, every time we're writing songs, we're trying to help tell other people's stories. So that's the goal every time.
And I always like to ask musicians and artists about their influences. And it's not the same way about like, hey, who are your favorite influences? Outside of the music genre, what type of other art or artists, could be actors, writers, authors, filmmakers, what other artists out there kind of inspire you and your work when you go in to write music?
Oh man, as far outside of the music business, I mean, if I'm the first person that came to mind was Will Ferrell. And I just think of, a guy like him, is, the comedian, the funny guy, like not taking life so serious all the time. I think that's just a good approach to have, so I think the lightheartedness of a guy like him, is crucial.
And you've written for other artists as well. What is different about creating music for yourself versus writing for somebody else?
Yeah, I mean, we're always, kind of trying to write in the direction of what I'm doing because I don't have a ton of time to write anymore. But it also just, at the end of the day, we can't record every single song that we're part of writing. So we'll just kind of break them down and see what we think, could possibly work well for another artist. And so I don't know if I think a ton about the differences of it. It's more of, kind of writing in my direction and then taking it and seeing what we can do.
So where does inspiration strike most when you're like writing new music? Are you like in the shower and realize, hey, I've been humming this little song, or out on tour with a guitar strumming around? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it just kind of comes from just daily life. And sometimes, hearing somebody say something, it can really even come from a conversation, the way somebody says something, or, you can pull titles and ideas from anything, and probably my favorite way to write a song is just going in to the room with a good idea, something that we can really, write around. So.
And you've been out touring. Is there a recent moment or some like fan connection or anything that when you're on stage that it kind of stuck with you lately?
It's every night, it's kind of the same, with Life With You after we'll play Life With You as our last song, or one of our last songs. And then we'll do the meet and greets at the end of the night. And it's always the coolest part to me is just getting to talk to the fans and hear, their personal stories about, how the songs, have affected them and stuff. So I think every night that's probably my favorite part.
Kelsey Hart's new single, Something That You'd Miss, is out Friday, August 22nd. You can find it on all streaming platforms and get some of his tour info over at kelseyhart.com. Hey, Kelsey, thanks for joining me this morning.
Hey, thanks for having me, buddy. Appreciate you.
He's back with another season of real-time, high-stakes law enforcement action. It's On Patrol Live. It's become a must-watch, taking viewers across the country as officers patrol their communities, live and unfiltered. Host and executive producer Dan Abrams is here to talk about the new season and the latest additions to the show and what makes On Patrol Live stand out in the world of live TV. Dan, welcome to the show, my friend.
It is great to be with you.
All right, so the show has had a huge impact, giving people insight on kind of giving them an inside look at law enforcement in real time. What do you think has made On Patrol Live such a success?
I think it's the fact that we are a fly on the wall with police officers. You don't know what's going to happen next. The same way the officers don't know what's going to happen next. And the fact that we're in so many different departments, right? I mean, we're in a lot of the time 9 departments at once with multiple cameras, multiple officers, et cetera. I mean, this is quite an operation that we have here. And so I think that the uncertainty, the fact that you get to see what police officers do is what has led this show to be as successful as it is.
And this season, you're expanding to cover Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. How has it been adding such a high-profile department into the mix?
Yeah, we think it's really important. And it was, I think a really good development for this show, because what we try to do is we try to be in different kinds of departments and in different places, right? So, we don't want just all similar departments from one state, right? That wouldn't be as interesting. So we are in states around the country. We are coast to coast. We are in some sheriff's departments. We are in some really small departments. And having Las Vegas in that mix now as a really big department, a top 10 department in the country, helps add to that diversity in terms of the types of policing you'll see on the show.
And with more than like 50 cameras capturing the action, there's a lot of happening at once. How do you and your team decide what to highlight and jump on it in that moment?
Yeah, look, it's not easy, right? To figure out exactly where to go and then to come back to it, by the way, as well, because viewers want to know, well, wait a sec, you were in that scene somewhere else. What ended up happening there? So it is a very complicated show to do, to try to piece together. And look, and sometimes maybe we don't make the right call, meaning it's live, right? So we say, we're going to go here. And then we decide, oh, you know what? Let's actually go to a different scene, et cetera. So that's part of what makes the show so exciting, is the live aspect of it, is the fact that we're going from department to department. And you're right, making those calls sometimes isn't easy.
And the show also features a missing segment that helps try to raise awareness for missing person cases. Do you have a story where On Patrol Live has made a difference?
We have dozens of cases where On Patrol Live has helped find people who are missing. And that really is one of the hallmarks of the show, is we've got this really passionate community, right, who love watching the show, and they are a community. And yet, when we talk about the missing segment and about how they can help, man, they jump. The community shares it on social media, and the number of times that we have heard from either departments or the national organizations that are helping to say, it was the On Patrol viewers who did it. That makes this all worthwhile.
Dan Abrams, I want to thank you for joining me. And I got to show all my love to Reels channel. That's kind of where I started doing this whole TV producing and all that stuff. So big love to everybody over at Reels channel too. So there you go, man. You can catch On Patrol Live every Friday and Saturday night from 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern on Reels. Don't miss the action as law enforcement officers take you inside their nightly patrols, live and in real time. For more info, visit reels.com. Dan, thanks for joining me, my friend.
Yeah, sure. My pleasure.
All right, Wichita, I want to thank you for tuning in and checking out the show. That's it for the show this week. If you want to be on the show, all you got to do is go to our website, riseunwindtv.com. If you like our show enough to follow us on social media, that's at Rise Unwind. Or subscribe to our YouTube channel to make sure that you can check out every show as it comes available. So like, subscribe, comments, I don't know. And until next week, that was Rise and Unwind.